Alright, let's see. I kind of forget. February 27th, 2019, meeting of the River Close Festival Sunrise is hereby called to order. And I think we have our esteemed
Joe, get out of the way.
Barbara to lead us through El Pledge.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Jerry, you got a here? No? Oh, whiny. Well, I got one. So this guy did us
If you disturb the colors of the rainbow is no longer beautiful.
Now, see, that is very like flowery stuff, but this guy's kind of an amazing guy. You know, he was in the 18th century. He was even more acerbic than Voltaire. Is really remarkable. But that's kind of the prettiest thing that I know. Acerbic. How about that? Do I get fined for that word?
Yes, and yes.
Yes, good or rubbish. All right, again, fabulous February. Just this week in February, the National Justice for Animals Week, the National Pasty Week. Now, what kind of pasties that relates to, I'm not going to say. Michael, you know, I'm going to find you.
Pasties are the pasties actually are meat pie.
Meat pie. Michael knows a lot about meat. Yes,
I know what you were thinking of.
When I used to drive a taxi in San Francisco, and there used to be King Arthur's pasty shop down near where the baseball park is. Remember that? Right next to that dump of a donut store. National Tasty Week, National Eating Disorders Week, National Invasive Species Awareness Week, International Petroleum. We gotta have our international petroleum.
Grill, baby, grill.
Yeah, dude. So,
Joe, here we go. All right, so I think we should cry uncle, huh?
sure.
Yes, let's do it. You are my sunshine. Maybe we get some sunshine. Right? Exactly. The words that. Yeah? Because if you sit in the front, you get the solo. Like church, never sit in front. Okay, ready? You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken, and I hung my head and cried. One more time. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Hey! And I think we can greet our neighbor.
Hi, neighbor. Hi. Another hug with you. Penny, Patrick back. Look at that, Bill. He's got all the regalia, huh? Some of the tattoos. Judy. And what would you do?
All right, that's just enough. That's just enough. Just enough. All right, what else we got? Oh, Mike Team, thanks. Gus and Linda, Gus. Gus has got it. He's right on it. Look at you. Right on it. Wow.
A plus.
What did I do? It makes me want to break out. Visiting Rotarians, do we have anybody? No, but we have some guests. Plural.
Our speakers this morning, Philip Schneider and Shannon Leach.
And we also have Madeleine.
Good morning.
Hey, hello. How are you? So tell us a little bit, just what's been going on in your life. I mean, you're now a little more than halfway through your year.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really going very well. I'm very happy to be here, and yeah, I don't really want to go. That's fun.
Is the weather worse here or back in Holland?
So at this moment, like last week, it was better here, but this week it is. I don't know how many degrees that is here. Like, but it's pretty warm at home. Really warm.
Now, how far from the sea is your home?
1 hour and 40 minutes.
Then you get snow.
No.
You do not get snow.
Well, I mean, sometimes we get snow. Like, I think a month ago we had snow, and this week it is super sunny and it is very bright. Yeah.
Well,
Hey, so you going to school today?
No?
yeah, I got that call from my kids. It was cool.
Yeah,
And including
great.
Natalie, obviously.
Yeah, great. It's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also next week I'm going on a tour to Hawaii
Oh.
with like 50 other exchange students or so. So
Oh.
I'm really, really excited for that. Yeah.
Bring back pictures.
Yeah, I will definitely.
What island are you going to?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm too loud, man. I'm very loud.
So very excited for that.
All right, well, we are delighted to have you today
Yeah. You're welcome.
throughout the year. Any more visitors, guests? No, it's not. Okay. All right, call to action. Did we miss something?
I'll clap.
So obviously we got the river going on. Does anyone, we've got a center open at the Center for the Arts for people that might need it. Does anyone know anything about any factors? Michael?
Yeah, the evacuation center is at the Center for the Arts, and it is open, so.
Do they have any takers or what's going on?
I don't know, to be honest with you. They opened it yesterday afternoon.
They must, because they posted on Facebook, they want warm clothes, both at the Center for the Arts and the Grace Pavilion. They put an all call out on Facebook for clean or dry clothes, because everybody left with nothing and they're all soaked. So there's a way to get stuff to them, and they said, go, Judy knows more about
Judy,
that.
you got something?
Yeah, I don't know about the Center for the Arts. I don't know about the Center for the Arts, but I do know that we've had several announcements over the last 24 hours from the community church. People inevitably show up there because during the fires we did an evacuation center. The last I heard, initially people who came to the church were being referred to other areas that were better stocked, but I also know that Becca Emerson, who's our administrator, was saying they would set up full-blown temporary shelter facilities if they could put together a team leader and a crew that were willing to man it 24 hours a day. So if anybody is interested, you can check with them, I can check with them, whatever. But at the moment, I do not believe there's a full-blown shelter there.
So what they're saying, the river, what are they saying, Bruce, about the level of the river, like 25-year high or something, or no, or maybe? Or,
It's supposed to be up to 48 feet.
The last time the river got up this high was back in 1997. So we're looking at about 22 years high.
48 feet?
I was
47 to
47?
47 to change.
Yeah.
Once it's above 42, you don't worry about how high it goes,
Well,
it's high.
46. But isn't 49 the highest?
don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was impressed with the deluge.
Or whatever.
The deluge over the last couple days. Okay, all right. So Parisian Rendezvous, Michael.
No, good morning. You can see there's a few bottles on the table there, but we need a lot more. And I was thinking if you wanted to delegate the shopping for a bottle of French wine to donate for an auction item, that'd be great. So we need those bottles of French wine for our auction item. And speaking of auction, so we met yesterday with Tara Jasper, she's the auctioneer. And it was a very exciting meeting because we sat there, for example, we have a donation of a band for a house concert, the Hot Class Quartet that is available. But we didn't have a house. So Tara says, oh, you don't have a house, and she starts suggesting places, and there's a place in Healdsburg that she knows of that just opened up a year ago, so we think we've lined up a spot for this house concert. That's another live auction item. The bid on, you can bring your friends and go to Terry, not here, so it's young and something. Anybody up on their distillery people? Young and old? Young and earnest. That would be an accounting firm. Not as exciting as
Young, dumb.
But anyway, so now we have a house for that house concert. And we have another winery that Tara lined up to pour, so now we have 5 wineries that'll be at the wine tasting and cheese tasting during the reception hour from 6 to 7. And so it was exciting. She has a really good Rolodex. Turned it out.
Yeah, that's good.
If you've already had it, I apologize, but could you send us a description of the event so we can pitch our people?
Yes, there is.
It can be emailed.
The auction items, you mean?
French cuisine.
Okay, so we have a ticket sales guide in electronic form, we'll send that out. And also the list of the auction items, so kind of get excited about that. One of the auction items I thought was cool is the year of date nights. So we're lining up 12 restaurants and movie tickets and that sort of thing. So I think that'll be a fun item.
Did you want to ask about a week somewhere? Because she said she had a fancy week, if we could trade a week.
Yes. So one of the things we got was a house, a 4-bedroom house in a winery, in a vineyard. And it's more exciting if you're going somewhere you want to travel to get to instead of someplace in Sonoma County to bring in more money if we can trade it. So, for example, I sent a message to Captain Ron and I said, would you like to auction off a week in wine country at a fundraiser at your Hawaiian club in exchange for a place? I haven't heard back yet. That was just yesterday. But any other destination that you have would be a good idea. Like Aspen, I don't know. I'm attracted to the Aspen Institute, but I don't think you get in automatically. You're just there. So a destination that you think would be cool, then we can call up and see if we can get an exchange.
What did you say about the Aspen Institute?
The Aspen Institute is an event in the summer in Aspen, Colorado, and I like it. That's where you're from. Can you get tickets to that Aspen Institute?
I'm from that.
Yeah, I like it too.
But we can call a Rotary Club in Aspen and see if they want to do an exchange or auction off a week in wine country. Of course they do.
I haven't been there for a while.
Yeah. So if you have an in there, that would be great. So let me know right away though, because we don't have a lot of time to set these things up. Speaking of setting things up, Patrick's been at work and he got Angelica's new owners to probably give us a sweet deal in every sense of the word. And we have samples here if anybody's interested in helping determine whether these are up to the mark. We have about a dozen items here that see me afterwards in that corner because I'll probably be first in line for that. So what else should I be talking about?
Ticket sale.
Open more silent auction and tickets. Nick?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, we're getting down close now. We have less than a month before our event, and we're trying to hone in and making sure that the tickets that have been passed out, and I think everybody, every member in this room has received their portion of tickets. Yeah, I think so. Anybody who hasn't seen me, be happy to deliver to you. There are and people who need more. I have a few more tickets left. Very happy to distribute those and make sure that we get them out to the public. Anybody that has a good place to put out cards or flyers where people may just happen upon them, I have some of these left, so please ask, and I'm happy for you to distribute them. I'm offering today a special.
An exclusive.
An exclusive. This is a one-time only event, right? You've seen my hats for the past couple of weeks. This hat is special. This is a Jim Glom consulting hat. They don't make these anymore. This is a one-of-a-kind that you can't just go out and buy, right? So, for anybody that today either writes a check for 4 tickets or who promises to give me a check for 4 tickets, I will throw in this hat as a prize.
Oh!
So we have one ticket order here. Anybody can outbid him. Who bid 5? Who take 5 tickets today? Huh? Oh, 5.
Will you keep the hat if we have 5?
5? Is this 5? Did I see 5?
Come with a peaceful.
Okay, going once, going twice. Oh, 5 tickets here. 5 tickets today. Write the check today. 5. Anybody else? Anybody else gonna have a chance for this? This hat you can pass down from generation to generation. It's geotechnical. Okay, very, very classy. And I don't want to tell you how I got it, but it is really the authentic thing.
Genuine article.
Yes.
If 6 tickets have been sold up to this point, is that person in this game?
No, I'm talking about more tickets today, right now, cash money.
Cash money.
Right, 5 tickets. I bid 5 tickets. Anybody else? I only have 1. This is a unique hat. So, yeah, but that's not a Jim Glom consulting hat. That's a thinking hat. So, going once for Bill Sauber, 5 tickets. Going twice. Sold. Mr. Sauber.
Good work, Nick.
There you are.
And Bill's proud owner of
Where else
a
is
geotech hat with signature perspiration.
I come by this honestly because I have had come out and work for me on my place, so thank you.
There you go. There you go. All right, anything else on said
Thank you.
event? All right, you guys, we got to circle back and make this thing happen, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Membership moment. We had our Oscar night. This is Linda and I there at the microphone. That was a lot of fun. What movie did you see?
I saw The Green Book just in the nick of time.
Oh. Well, thank you for putting that together. So, Paul Harris Fellow, Rod, we have someone to honor here in our midst.
PJ. Get off your backside. Hey, stop talking to that guy. Come on.
Hair Club for Men worked for him.
PJ, it's a pleasure, as always, to stick a pin.
Stick a pin. Ooh, la, la. That's why we should auction off. Full Monty.
Anyway, PJ has now gotten Paul Harris, and this is his Paul Harris +1. And let this be an inspiration to the rest of you who'd like to continue support for the Rotary Foundation. And Patrick, just tell us a few sentences why you donate to the Rotary Foundation.
Well, like many of you, all of you, we are concerned about where we are and where we want all of us to be able to go in all countries. So it's a pleasure as a traveler to support Rotary International and its incredible efforts. And so that's been a real plus. But I'm also going to pitch another pitch, and that's for our own foundation and its needs. We do incredible things right here in our own community, and I'd like to see that continue, and that's why we all support the fundraisers and things like that. But I've also made a decision to match what I do in Paul Harris with putting into our own foundation. I want us to be very successful.
Yeah,
and that's where I'm going with things.
thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
So, the sticking. There you go. All right, Patrick. I can't think of a more deserving sticky. So Barbara, tell us a little bit about said photography. Where you have to point, I can't even imagine, 1959 is it?
No, this is probably mid-50s.
Oh, mid-50s.
Mid-50s.
Can you point it?
Yeah. This is why, when I was growing up, I thought I was related to half of Sonoma County. This is my great-grandmother, Laura Barlow, and she had 6 kids, and so this is, every year for her birthday in August, she would have a giant family reunion picnic. So, that's me.
Whoa.
So my parents, and what you don't know, the secret. 2 of the men in that photograph were members of the Sebastopol Rotary Club, Dr. Gail Ferenson and Don Hallberg. So, yeah, that's why I thought I was related to half of Sonoma County. Now, my great-grandmother was one of 7 sisters. So her sisters were Ballard, Chenoweth, Regal, Purrington, and a couple of others. So yeah. Then I found out the other half was Italian and drank wine because they were great teetotalers, temperance, yada yada. So in 1906, now 1904, my great-grandmother was widowed. She had 6 kids. Everybody said, "Oh, little woman," and she was 5 feet on a good day. Move to town, sell the ranch, you know, raise your kids. And she said, nope. 1906. She was the berry queen of Sonoma County, and she was farming 250 acres.
Oh, wow.
They had berries in between the new apple trees, so they'd have a cash crop. So, yeah. The Barlow here, Tom Barlow is my mom's first cousin. The Hallberg Apple Ranch that used to be north of town, that's my mom's first cousin. Jules, up there on Mill Station, that's my mom's first cousin. Doka, I don't know if any of you remember the Doka family, they had a dairy, that's another first cousin. Gail Ferenson was the one who sold the original coffee grounds to Charles Schultz up there on Coffee Lane. So yeah, I was related to half of Sonoma County.
All right, Barbara, that will be a slim $20. A slim $20. All right, that's awesome. You know what I'd like to do at some point is like put together a little, 10-minute moment maybe of all of our ancestors, right, that were involved in Rotary. I think my grandpa was down, a Rotarian down in LA in the 30s and 40s. All right, birthdays, anniversaries. Well, this isn't an action, but it's John's wedding anniversary today. Lovely Teresa, so there you have it. And PJ's excellent adventure. PJ, can you tell us a little bit about where you have been recently? And I got some pictures here for you. This is, tell us.
My wife and I and a pair of close friends from Berkeley went down to Chiapas, which is in Mexico on the Guatemalan border, and we birded through this area and into Oaxaca Valley and up into the mountains around Oaxaca. And Oaxaca is this tremendous cultural center of the world, as far as I can tell, food.
How high are those mountains?
They're over 12,000.
Really?
Yeah. So we're this is from our cabin. We're looking out where we're staying, and we were there. We were only in this place is two days at the most, and we're traveling around.
Look at that.
And you know, that's one of the special birds on there. It's called a blue mockingbird, and so Jerry and I have the same camera, and we're always trying to take bird pictures. So this is one of those, and this is called Siete Colores, 7 colors, right? It's a painted bunting.
Oh,
it's a really sweet bird, and we have them around in the Southwest, so they're around there.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
That's a caracara. That's a bird of prey that is very common down there. So it's a really great bird to photograph in the air.
What's this?
Jerry, you'll appreciate this. This is from the Casa de Abuela. And this is in Oaxaca, and this is an indigenous get-together. They have 15 different indigenous tribes that speak Spanish as a second language, and they're getting together to support themselves and their languages to make sure that they continue in their own tradition. So this was an opportunity to see all this, and so we went down there and mingled and shot pictures and all sorts.
That's great. Look at the colors.
Yeah, tremendous stuff down there. They're really wonderful opportunity to talk with folks. And if Joe Gazowitz went down there, he'd be a giant among people.
Giant among people.
They're all about 5'4". That's really interesting down there.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a great time, and so we finished off with 3 days. Surrounding Oaxaca is a tremendous amount of villages that specialize in different kinds of artistic things. So you can go to weavers' villages, you can go to pottery villages, you can go to mezcal places. That's all over, you know. Mezcal is just another word for tequila, that they can't use that word because it only comes from Tequila, Mexico. But mezcal is just as, if you like tequila, it's just as refined as any of the tequilas.
I didn't know that about this, or Appellation Control, like the first thing.
Yeah, they got that one in, and that's just the way it goes. So we went to different places to see how that was done, and it's a tremendous movie. Yeah, I'm sorry.
PJ, thank you for sharing.
Oh, and I have some gifts for President.
El Presidente.
El Presidente. I did not bring you back a mug this time, but I brought you back the coffee because we were up in Shade Room coffee area.
Mucho más mejor.
Just wonderful. So I bought a bunch of this for myself, and I'm glad to give that to you. And along with that, in these weaving towns, kids 8 years old start out doing these in long rows of just practicing weaving. And eventually, when they get older in their 30s, they're working on looms that go from Michael to about halfway on this table, and they're making huge rugs and everything in between. It's a tremendous opportunity. I'm using them for coasters, and I'm bringing you a couple.
Oh, so, very nice.
Yeah,
very
so
nice.
There's those opportunities, and there's more. Anybody ever have mole?
Yes.
What's the base ingredient in a lot of the moles? So anyway, they're known for their chocolate as well, so I brought you that.
Wow.
So enjoy. That's all yours.
You know, PJ, I was going to fine you big time, but instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay PJ's fine of $20.
Well done.
And you can add another 10 onto that for me, just because. Wow. Okay, all right, okay, what do we got here? What do we got? Cloverdale Scarf Crab Feed tomorrow, first Friday at Mother's Room, right, Bill?
That's right. And then wait a minute, because next month, we're probably going to try to do a group thing together.
Okay.
And then in May, we're going to go to Brian's.
Measure 5, March 5th, March 23rd, our rendezvous, April 6th, district training, May 17th to 19th, row race and 4-way fest. Get free tickets and reservations. Louis, did you want to say something? I know what.
Yes.
I was going through the paper the other day. And I saw this guy looks just like someone I know. As an article was written, I believe that he was close to home. Article, and it was none other than Nick Randall. And I saw the name, and I said, "That's Nick that I know. He got publicity, and this club loves to reward people who get publicity for their articles." And he's already reaching for his wallet. So, anyway, a very nice story about his housing endeavors.
All right, Nick. So is that a fine-a-roni or no?
Yeah, it's a fine request. I requested you find it.
Okay, is that
Yeah,
like a
let's
slim
also-
20?
Also, don't forget Rod McCauley, who had a close, not a close to home, but a letter to the editor, which was excellent, I believe, at the beginning of last week. So check your older editions.
So Rod, that's a slim 15 for you.
Boy, there's a lot of tattletale.
20? Okay, 20, we got two 20s.
One more tattletale. One more, can you, no volume. One more date to add, March 31st, the fundraiser that the El Molino Interactive is doing for our grant in Tanzania, it has, because of their spring break, is rescheduled for March 31st, Sunday, March 31st. And more details to follow, but keep that date in mind. And we're going to do a 4K run. Anyway.
All right. Yeah, and Bruce has a petite announcement of a personal nature. I need a .25.
A somewhat public service and unabashed personal announcement. Our second house on the ranch has now become available again. If you have anybody that's looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,300 square foot house on about an acre portion of our ranch, $27.50 a rent, and I would be happy to take applications.
Bruce, $35. What do you think?
You said 20. You said 20.
I changed my mind. No, 20 is fine. 20 is fine. Get the 20. Bill, you got that 20. Get that 20. All right. Do we have an announcement? Any other announcement? Charlie.
Okay. Well, I want to introduce a couple of people from Circle Up Sonoma, which is an organization that does mentoring, and it's a group that's near and dear to my heart. But first, I got to tell you, I learned this morning on one of Matt's first slides that this is National Telecommuters Week, and probably many of you didn't know that. At Weeks Drilling, we have this system so that if people need to work home, they can do so. And today's the day, because you can't easily get there on Highway 12. So Christine told me she was going to stay at home. She was going to, and she'd never used it before, she was going to log into the system, get her work done. She called me not long ago and said, "What's the best way to get to Weeks? I can't make this work." And so, in honor of National Telecommunications Week, the recommendation is practice it before you need it. So I'd like to introduce two people from Circle Up Sonoma. One is Shannon Leach, who is the founder. And this is a homegrown organization. It's not a chapter of some larger group. They do some really interesting programs. And the man that's going to be doing the talking today is Philip Schneider. He is, he spent most of his career doing fundraising for schools, and he worked for the Reader's Digest. He's got his wife of 46 years. They've raised 3 healthy and well-adjusted kids, and he's got 6 grandkids. And working with young people is his passion. So, Philip.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Again, my name is Philip Schneider, and I'm working with a group, as Charlie was saying, that really has working with dealing with a problem that is a big problem here in Sonoma County and across the country. Shannon Leach on my right is the executive director and my hero in this endeavor. So let's see. Let me tell you about the problem. I'm just going to read some statistics. 1 in 3 children are born to unwed parents in the United States. 1 in 3. Estimated 24 million children do not live with their biological father, 24 million. 43% of urban teens live away from their dad. 42%, this one blows me away, 42% of fathers fail to see their kids at all after a divorce. Since 1960, the rate of U.S. children without fathers has quadrupled. The consequences of some of that is this. 85% of youths in prison grew up in a fatherless home. 71% of high school dropouts come from a fatherless home. Girls without fathers become sexually active earlier, have higher rates of STD, and are more likely to get pregnant. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. 90% of homeless children are from fatherless homes. Big problem exists here, exists all across the country. So I chose to join a group of men and women here who are making a difference in young people's lives. We formed a nonprofit to do two things. One, we meet with middle school and high school aged kids in school in small groups, what we call circles. Secondly, we hold a rite of passage weekend with the kids, which we do a series of exercises with them, which help to empower them and help them to find their way into adulthood. The small groups meet in confidentiality. There's usually like 5 to 12 kids with 2 or 3 mentors. Boys, all exclusively boys, or with girls. They come in with agreements. They decide how they want to be treated. And I'm going to read you some of the things that the kids have chosen. This is how they want to be treated. I quote, good, amazing, with respect, fair, no kings or slaves, equal, real, regular member of society, or as a normal person. So this is what we do. We want to give them a place where they can share their feelings, where they can feel safe, be treated as equals, be shown that there are some adults who want to spend some time with them, who want to treat them in a positive way. I personally chose to get involved because of this. I have 3 kids, as Charlie mentioned. I have several examples, but there was a young man named Doug, who was my daughter Emily's friend. Doug and I didn't really spend that much time with him, but I went hiking with him a couple times. I remember sitting with him, just having nice talk, and seeing what's going on in your life, and just being open to it, and just talking and being interested. That was the big deal. Well, apparently I had a huge impact on Doug, because after his graduation from high school, for several years, he would call me out of the blue and just tell me how he's doing.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm almost teary here thinking about that. I love Doug, and I love the fact that I had an impact just by showing him that I was interested. So what I'd like to do at this point is I'd like us to just take 2 minutes. I'd like people to just get into threes right at your tables and just talk. Was there somebody in your life who showed an interest in you as you were growing up that had an impact on you? If you wouldn't mind, just bear with me and do that. We'll take 2 minutes, just talk among yourselves, and then at the end of those 2 minutes, we'll call on a few people to mention some of those impacts that you had on your life. Okay, we'll start now, please.
Well, I had let's see, I was definitely well, I play guitar. I also, then later, I worked at Scout.
All right, we'll take one more minute.
They're probably cheaper to fly them here than hire someone.
I can't get down on my hands and knees anymore.
What's a blessing? I'm not gonna.
Okay, let's wrap it up here.
Lay on my back.
Thank you. No,
I'm delegated that job.
I'm going to ask if any of you would like to volunteer some of the things that have been said at your table. If you, would anybody like to talk? Yes, please.
Microphone.
Where's the other mic, please? Who's on the A team?
Well, I don't have an early childhood, like a little kid, but when I was 14, 15, my parents had a friend who was this amazing lady, and she became my godmother through it, but she was like a mentor. She really opened my mind up to a different way of looking at the world a little bit, Marin County, a little more woo-woo. But yeah, she really changed my life path because she just showed me, through her wisdom, I get to share anything with her, and through her wisdom of being an adult and just listening. So, right at that age, right at 14, 15.
Okay. Well, but the interesting thing I get from that is she was open, and you could say anything you wanted to her, right? That's the thing. There was an adult who she could actually speak to. Anybody else want to share? Yes, please.
That's the A team.
Hello? Okay. So at our table, we mostly had pretty traditional families with dads at home or dads working and moms at home. But an experience I had while my sons went through scouting, and I became a scoutmaster. And one of the young men boys that was in the thing wanted to take the plumbing merit badge. And nobody in the district knew how to do plumbing. So I learned plumbing enough to become the counselor for the plumbing merit badge, taught him that, he got his merit badge. Later on, he became a plumber, came back and wanted to, do you have anything that needs to be fixed? He wanted to show me that he had learned this skill and was now making a living doing it. So that was really neat.
That's very cool.
Good mentorship.
Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you. Great. We could take, probably at every table, there's a good story. But I think everybody agrees that kids, especially in this day and age, without dads, so many of them have had no fathers, so many of them need an adult to just be able to speak to that believes in them, that says, hey, I'm interested, you're a good person, etc. So what I'd like to do is just explain to you where our organization is. Now let me just say right now before I forget, we're called Circle Up Sonoma. However, we ran into a problem. There's another Circle Up Education that is in the area, and so we're going to have to change our name. We had to shut down the website until we choose a name later in this week. So you're going to get a brochure on the way out. It's over there. But the website is down for the moment because we have to change our name. But let me explain where we are at the moment. Some of us have attended up to 5 workshops put on by Boys to Men. Boys to Men is a worldwide organization that does a similar thing to us, but we didn't want to restrict ourselves just to boys. We wouldn't want to have groups available for the girls and women as well. So we've attended multiple workshops by them. We put on 2 workshops to train mentors ourselves. We have, we've trained about 25 mentors, and we're running our first group in West County Charter School in Forestville, and that is going extremely well. A group of superintendents and administrators in West County have told us, let's do a pilot program there, and if it goes well, we're going to expand it out to other schools. The principal, Kirsten Sant, at that school has said she loves it. She wants to take us to the next school that she's going to next year, so we're real positive about that. Let me just describe how a circle works. What we do, we only, like at that school we have an hour. So the first thing we do is we have a check-in with the kids, and we ask them, how are you feeling? That's a big deal. How are you feeling? We want to honor their feelings and give them a place to talk about them. And we also want to do something we call help them with emotional intelligence. And Shannon has been very nice. He's the boss. He's been sitting here listening to me jabber on. But I'd like you, if you would mind, explaining what do we mean by emotional intelligence? This is something we're trying to get across.
Thanks, Bill. Is he doing a great job?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Philip started talking about a lot of the problems that teenagers are facing, and really what we're finding out is that what it mainly stems from is suppressing our emotions. You know, and that's not just children. We do it as adults as well. You know, it's a big part of loving ourselves is being able to express how we feel. And what happens with children when they're not allowed to say, you know, they come home from school and dad's not there anymore, mom's stressing out because she's working all the time, she's got a list of problems that she's dealing with. Kids can't come home and say, this is the things that's going on with me, Mom. You know, and they don't have dad around to talk about it. So what do? They push it. They just suppress it and push it down. And this, what ends up happening when kids continue, and adults continue to push our feelings and emotions down, is they end up popping out sideways. It's like you're stuffing a hefty bag full of garbage, and eventually it's going to bust at the seams, and problems start to arise. And that's where we start seeing things like the bullying, teen suicide, violence in schools, kids who drop out, teen suicide. These are all what they originally comes from is not being able to just express how they feel. So that's what a big part of when we go in, when we say, okay, you guys, this is your circle. This is what we're going to be. This is for you. How do you want to be treated here? And we start them off letting them know that we're there for them, to treat them how they want to be treated. And then when we start going into our check-in, a big part of it is saying, okay, you know, it was beautiful. 2 weeks ago, one of the boys said, you know, I have an idea how I want to do this. I want to check in with happies and crappies. And we're like, okay, what does that mean? He said, I want to say of the last week, the things that have made me happy and the things that have made me feel crappy. And we're like, show us how then. And he took over and led the circle and showed us how to share the things that make us feel happy and the things that make us feel crappy. And then we expanded on that this last week. We said, okay, that was beautiful what you did. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grow that a bit. We're going to say, okay, what are all the different emotions that fall under happy? And let's take whatever has made us happy over the last week and say, this is the emotion. You know, I felt love, I felt excitement, I felt joy, and assigned these emotions to the event. And under what's crappy, what was actually crappy? Was it anger? Was it sadness? Was it fear? Was it boredom? Frustration? You know, what was it? And the kids get that. They are, all of a sudden, they're like, oh, here is an opportunity for me to say, this is how I really feel. And part of with setting up the agreements that they set up in the beginning, sets it up so that they're not being judged for how they feel. They're not going to be getting criticized for how they feel. They can express what's going on with them in a safe place, where they're not being put down. And another big part of the agreements that they came up with is confidentiality. They want to know that they can sit there in circle, talk about how they feel, and it's not going to be spread around the school. It's not going to be talked about outside of the circle. Everything, like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That's how it is in our circles too. What happens in circles stays in circles. So that's a big part of how they're taught emotional intelligence and allowed to have whatever emotions arise, whatever comes up for them. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Oh, another thing I wanted to add that Phil was talking about. You know, we're having men sit with boys. We're going to have women sitting with girls. We haven't started our girls program yet because we don't have enough female mentors. So that's one of the things we're looking for. But also what we also want to do down the road is once the boys get accustomed to sitting in circle and being authentic and respectful of each other, and the girls are in their circles learning the same skills, eventually we'll start to bring the boys and the girls together and have co-ed circles where they can sit together and talk about what's really going on with them in front of each other, which is very rare. Boys and girls don't really get to come together and sit and talk and be authentic about what's really going on in their lives in a safe place. So that's another thing we're going to be offering in our school program as well. Thank you.
Okay, Shannon. Okay, so how can you help? First thing, we need mentors, especially as Shannon said, women mentors would be awesome. So if you have a heart for that, then just let us know.
Sign me up.
Awesome. Okay. So we can talk afterwards, or if any of you, if we don't talk, Charlie has our contact information. So we also need people to serve on our board. We've recently, when I said Shannon's boss, we're all volunteers, you know. But we've had several guys who have stepped back, and women who have stepped back off of our board because they have other things going on in their life and they don't have enough time to devote to it. So we need board members. If any of you feel that way, that you'd like to be of help in that way, that would be very helpful. If you have any personal contacts in schools, administrators that you know who would like to have a program like this on his or her campus, let us know. That would also be helpful. Also, we need money. You know, why do we need money? Well, we need it when we're training mentors. We need to rent a place. We need to hire a grant writer. That's about $2,000. Somebody who knows how to write grants so that we get going quicker. We need to have a full-time or a half-time person. We need to pay a salary, you know, because he's putting in now hours and hours and hours. It's amazing how much work there is to be done, so we need money for that. We need close to between $5,000 and $8,000 to put on this rite of passage weekend that we're going to be doing in the springtime, or in the fall of this year. So there's a lot of different things that we need. We appreciate the opportunity just to have all of you listening to us.
Another thing we need is we're looking for a location to have the rites of passage weekend too. We haven't found where we're going to be doing it. It would be great if it could be somewhere within an hour of Sonoma County.
So that's pretty much it. We're open to if anybody has any questions for us. Yes, sir.
What's the age bracket?
It's it's 12 to 17. Yes.
How are the youth, how do you select the youth? Are they in the classroom or
Want to answer that?
You know, self-selection has been the best way. We get a large group of kids together. We say, this is what we're doing. Who wants to do it? Through the school, yeah. We just get together with a group of children. No, we'll talk to the principals and the teachers. No, we'll talk to the principal. Principal talks to the teachers, and they say, what we're looking for is kids who are natural leaders, kids who are smart but not living up to their potential in school, and 3 kids who have a natural tendency towards compassion and empathy. And what we do is we get those kids together and we say, hey, this is what we're going to try to do here in your school. Who wants to be part of it? If you don't want to, you don't have to. And what happens is a natural selection. Kids who don't want to be part of it leave. And the kids who want to be part of it, they'll stay. And that seems to be the best way to get kick-started.
So you present to them the opportunity?
Yes.
And then they opt in?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just had a quick one. How many kids do you have now?
6, 8 actually.
That's the first school pilot program at West County Charter School in Floresville.
Yeah, that was a question that I would have. So how many?
Microphone, please.
How many schools have you reached out to and offered your service?
2. You know, we're a very small staff and don't want to try to take on too much too fast. So we just, let's pick one school to get started in, get going as soon as we feel like we're comfortable there, and let's start growing in from that.
So I have a follow-up question. Can you teach my kids how to clean a room? Just joking.
No.
Can't get himself going.
I appreciate your efforts on behalf of children. I was a teacher in middle school, and getting kids to talk, I give it to you to come up with a method to be able to do that. I was interested in knowing where you got your statistics that you talked about at the beginning. Where do they come from?
Yeah, they actually came from Boys to Men, and I can forward you if you want exactly where they document every one of those statistics, and it wouldn't be hard if you give me your email. I'll send her the document I had where I got those statistics.
And then one of the things that I did in middle school, 7th and 8th graders, is as a team building opportunity that affected them throughout the whole semester, is I took them to the ropes course. So I don't know if you're familiar with the ropes course, but you should become familiar with it. And another opportunity might be a Canopy Tours place, because you're out in West Sonoma County, and they have a tremendous opportunity for children to get over what they're doing.
Let's talk right afterwards, please. Yeah.
Any more questions? I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you are doing, because I think it is critically important, and I'm just completely sold on the importance of it, and I think my club has heard me talk about related subjects, so I think it's great what you're doing, but round of applause for the opportunity. And I'm going to ask you, first of all, you guys are going to have to split this. This is your speakers. It's easily doable, right? So thank you very much. And then I have one thing to ask you to do. I guess it can be one of, and that would be 5, 6, 8. Choose a ticket here and let it not be Marty's. Choose a ticket and read it out to our expectant audience.
It's ticket. 3, 3, 3, 5, 6, 9.
5, 6, 9. Oh, the rich get richer. Now, Bruce, the last time he did this, he was able to ferret out the lucky card. And that was Lori, did you bring another one?
Ticket, I believe.
I got the right one. Okay, how about it, Bruce? How about it?
I was all the way until the last.
Oh, so close! So far. There you go. Do you want to disclose what you got, Lori? Oh, you can open it up. Well, thank you, Lori, very much.
Oh, look at that. He gave it to his wife. What a good husband.
What a good husband. What a good husband. Okay, who's got the joke?
I did.
Okay, Matt, Natalie, how about it?
Why are koalas not considered bears?
What?
Because they don't have the qualifications.
Oh, that's that good. All right, Joe, take us home.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.